All right, guys, I want to talk about my favorite part of chess. That is tactics. Love tactics. Uh, Now, something we got to keep in mind is your tactics do not necessarily reflect your playing strength. So if you look at your blitz, bullet, rapid, time controls, your rating's probably not going to be as high as your tactics. But I don't know. Like my tactics, I'm rated over 2,500. My blitz, bullet, and rapid, not so much. I mean, I'm in the teens for all of them. You know, mid teens. So I'm going to dive right in with. You can see here I'm going down to custom because I want to do the rating range between. We're going to start with 800 to 1200 ELO puzzles. Let's jump right in. And what I want to do is go through the ideas, kind of explain what's going on, my initial ideas. All right away, you see this bishop comes in. All right, you know, it doesn't involve the knight right away because the king is pinned. So the first thing you look for, people say it different ways, either checks, captures, and threats, or checks, captures, and attacks. Same thing. So right away, I see this check right here. This check, what would it do? They could either block with the bishop or you could block with the knight. If they block with the knight, notice I have this pawn here that can intercept. All right, so I'm thinking it's going to be check. And then bishop here. You could also play the knight right here. Either way, this bishop is gone, so you're going up a piece. It's winning material. I could go into more ideas just to start to look around, but this is going to be the solution here. Right away, okay, so the blocks with the knight, and then we pick up our piece. All right, so we're going to move on. All right away, notice this absolute pin. It's called an absolute because it can't be broken, because otherwise it'd be in check. So this pin has to stay. I forget the name of the other type of pin, absolute, and yeah, the other one. The other one is where you can move the piece, but you'll lose material. This one you cannot because it's a pin to the king. All right, so I look at this check. Does it do anything? All right, the king has lots of retreat squares, it looks like right away. They wouldn't block with the queens. I don't think it involves this check necessarily, but also is there a way to capture? So right away, you want to think about the move that looks absurd and crazy. It would look absurd and crazy, right? To grab the bishop, the rook recaptures, and then what happens? What do you got to show for it? So let's look around at some other things. All right, if check, all right, can the king come here? King could come there. Check. Bishop. Check, but then you would lose the rook. All right. Let's see. What am I missing here? Check. Here. Check. Take. That doesn't make sense. All right. What if it's just check and intercept? Okay. So see what I mean? I went through the checks with the rook to see if there's anything, and now I find right away that there's this check. All right. And the this bishop will intercept here, and it's breaking the pin. All right, then my queen's going to come up here, and notice, all right, actually not quite yet because this bishop will still be here. So captures. All right, we got to play this right. Check, takes. We're not going to check with the queen because that wouldn't make sense. Check, takes. So with this bishop here, it's going to block the influence of the queen here. Which is also, yeah. So we're going to play the bishop here for check. This bishop is going to capture. Our queen is going to come here for check. And notice what I said, this square right here is cut off, so the queen no longer protects this pawn. All right, so queen checks, and the king could either go here or here, and regardless, we can grab this the bishop right here. So the rook's going to end up coming right here, and I don't think there's any mate threats after that. All right, so bishop. Oh, so they're just going to lose the queen, I guess. All right, so it's going to be takes, takes, takes. All right, so let's talk about the different options. If we grab the bishop, we just lose our queen and end the game. All right, so we probably have to grab the queen. And then if the bishop recaptures, we're just up a queen versus a rook and bishop. All right. A lot of times with rook and knight, you can get a fortress position where it can be held. All right, so we're just going to grab the queen, and then now the material's equal. Actually, we're up 2 pawns, so that's winning endgame. All right, an endgame right here. There's not really anything to worry about because any checks are met with just grabbing this pawn, right? We could just advance here, and I think that's what we'll do because this rook cannot capture here because we have the defense going right here. So all we have to do is advance this pawn. A lot of times pawn endgames, including rook and pawn endgames, can be kind of tricky, all right? So this is just going to be advance the pawn and advance again. Like I said, this isn't a threat just because we grab the pawn. And this rook, you would think, all right, well, it can keep checking me. Check, and you just run closer. Check, and you keep running away. And eventually the black rook is going to run out of checks, all right? So we just advance, and then we can just grab the piece. And like I said, we're going to queen no matter what. All right, this is check. All right, so like I said, checks, captures, and threats. Check, this would be mate if it wasn't for the bishop, so the bishop's going to block. And notice this knight can deliver a check, but it can't right now because this bishop would just grab, and we'd have an endgame where this rook on the 7th rank would be able to clean up. So first, like I said, check, the bishop's going to block, and then this knight comes here delivering the mate. Or excuse me, not the mate. The king would have to retreat here, so follow along. Rook checks, bishop blocks, knight check. The king only has 1 square because remember we have a bishop there. We're going to have the rook here and the knight here. So this is the only square for the king, and then we just capture with the rook, and that's going to be mate. All right. So check, block, check, and grab, and that's mate. All right. Next one. So right away, I don't see any, or yeah, we have a check right here. The only block is a pawn, or excuse me, knight captures, queen captures, pawn advance, queen captures. So a lot of times you just have to do little calculations. It might seem like a lot because there's all kind of arrows or whatever. It's really not that bad. Just calculate one at a time, check. All right, if they block, it's just mate and 1. All right, so imagine the bishop's right here. This king has nowhere to go. All right, so check, takes, check from the queen. The only move is to block, and then imagine the queen right here. Without this, these 2 pieces are gone, and our queen is right here. All right, so let's watch what happens. Check, grab, and mate. All right, next one. All right, I don't see any immediate checks, but what I do see is a mate threat. All right, so there and mate. So what do I notice right away by threatening mate? I notice I didn't even look at, actually there's even other stuff. There's check, king here. Move out of the way for discovered check. I mean, we could even, and I got to remember that the queen can come in here. This bishop is locked out of the game. This bishop is also protecting these squares. So let's see, could it be a check? Sorry for all the arrows. Check, take, check from the queen, and we don't grab the knight. Initially, that was what I was thinking. I was like, oh, we'll just check and grab this piece. But really, we can check and mate, all right, because we're going to have the rook and the queen right there, all right. So when we check here, the king is going to be on this square, and it can't escape here, all right. It's got to escape here, all right. So this is going to be a mate in 2. So we have to sack the bishop first. So check, grab, check, mate, all right. So check, all right. So it didn't continue. All right, it didn't continue there, but it's going to be a mate. Here, here. Oh, what was I explained that all wrong because this king can't grab here, but yeah. And then king comes over here. And you can actually tuck this bishop. I think really right here is good regardless. We get this. But yeah. All right, yeah, I might have explained that one a little bit wrong, but that was the move. All right, so let's see here. What do we got going on? Can we exploit anything? Is this queen trapped potentially? Why do I ask that? Because look at the squares around the queen. I'm not saying this is what it is, but this immediately jumps out because all of all of these pieces potentially block off squares, and this kind of stuff will jump right out at you doing enough tactics. All right, all these squares I'm highlighting red are taken. The only one that's not, right, is right here. And obviously the square that the queen currently is. So I'm just going to make these all red. Everything in red is taken. No good for the queen. All right, I'll say that. And we can't capture here, obviously. So how do we exploit that? All right, this knight, can it jump here? No. All right, it would be nice if this bishop could. All right, can we jump here? We can jump there. If we jump there, queen gets access here, so we'll make this green. All right, then we threaten again. This knight comes over here. What squares does the queen now have? Queen does not have this square, does not have this square, does not have this square. So notice all I did was right away recognize that the queen is in front of all of these pieces, and the pieces are jammed in the middle, so there's got to be a trap going on. So, and that was pretty much it. So we'll start with right away. We'll just get rid of those. Make sure it can't be anything else. Here, 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 and then I'm thinking a sacrifice. I mean, the queen's going to want to grab something, or even here. Queen's gonna maybe I don't know. I don't know what the queen's gonna do, but we're gonna start with this. All right, and then there's threatening check right there, but that doesn't really do all that much. So we're just gonna take the queen. All right, so that might have looked like pulled that one out. I just kind of noticed that the queen looked a little trapped and kind of calculated. Cause that might not have been the that's not always going to be the answer, but when you see the queen looks limited on the squares, see how you can exploit it. All right, so here's a pawn endgame. The first thing I notice is you see this wall right here. Kind of remember this, when pawns are staggered, you create walls. So the enemy king is cut off from all these squares. All right, this king is actually helping out a lot. This king has no way into the game. Whereas white, what do we have? We could advance, captures with check, and then so we already know over here is off limits. All right, so we have to way to strike into the game. We don't want to immediately come over here. Actually, we might be able to. So notice there's another thing. Look at all white's pawns. The only thing white has that can move is the king. So the other thing is I could come over here. Now the white king is forced to step away, and then I come over here again, and the king only has moves this way. All right, which if I grab this pawn, then the king is stepping in. So yeah, I'm here, but do I want to give that counterplay? The other thing I have to think about is, all right, if check, grab, yeah, I'm checked, but then I can just come over here. So visualize this. If I advance and this pawn captures, yeah, it's a check. But as soon as I move here, this pawn runs and I get a queen. All right, let's think about the other way. Advance the pawn. This pawn goes. That's probably not so good, because if I advance thinking I can get to this pawn or this pawn, which now has moved here, will run. All right, so this idea is bad, I'm thinking, because of this. Yeah, so I'm not liking that too much. Unless up, take with check here, then it could solidify it right there. That's not good. All right, so this is no good. So I'm thinking we're going to get this pawn, and the idea being here, now white doesn't have any moves like I said before, so I'm guessing we're probably going to go here trying to stay close. because if I then come here, then actually black can't do this. So it would have to be here, here, a waiting move, here, 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 then 1, 2, 3, let's just say 4, oops, where was this pawn? Yeah, so I think this is winning. Yeah, okay, that's it. So it was basically, it's going to take white a lot more moves to get either pawn advanced than it will take black to get a pawn advanced. And even if, let's say here, white tries to block, all right, then we can just step out of the way and start advancing these pawns. All right, that one took me a little longer because I wanted to calculate this breakthrough and to see if there was anything there. And just in case you were thinking the same thing, I could explain why it doesn't work. All right. So there's this tension right here. Immediately you see the double attack. So let's see, if check takes, check here, and then there's no check back right here to go to here because of this pawn. All right, so let's see. Check, take, grab the pawn with check. If the queen blocks, then I can't grab this rook. All right, so we're down a piece. So we want to see how to save it. So I think it's just going to be check. I guess we're not going to find a way to grab this rook. It's going to be rook and queen, or excuse me, queen versus rook and pawn. So when this queen grabs next, all right, the queen is going to have to be sacrificed. Otherwise, it's going to be a mate in 3 because of 1. And then I'll use a different color here. So 1. Oh. Sorry, I'm making different color arrows. 2. King here. Oh, king here. Oh yeah, if you grab with the queen. 1. Sorry, I'm explaining it slow because the way the computer is going to do it is recapture with the queen. Because if not, if it's not captured and the king just moves, this is mate. That's basically what I was trying to say. So anyway, check. Oh, okay. Then we're going to have a quick mate. No, we're going to win the queen. Sorry, I didn't explain that. So the idea is that I just did a deflection, basically pulling the king away, sacrificing the rook. So I brought the rook here. King has to take, and now I win the queen. All right. Yeah, I didn't think about that one. I should have thought about that a little bit. All right, so what happens if takes, 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 takes? All right, that doesn't look good. Also, what happens if, is there anything else? Wondering if this is forced because 1, 2, 3, and I win some material. But I get this passed pawn that can kind of run. I also win this pawn. So it's 1, 2, 3. This check doesn't do anything because then I just come here. Yeah, so I think that's it. And not really worried about this pawn running at the moment. And this is just going to be met with this. Yeah, so let's go through it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the king recaptures the bishop. No. My rook is going to stay here. when this happens, I'm going to capture here actually, and then it pushes the rook out of the way. All right, there, here. Okay, so why did I capture with the king? Because now I'm keeping this threat alive. I'm getting rid of white's passed pawn. All right, it's a passed pawn because it doesn't have any other pawns on either side of it. It can stop it. There's no black pawns on the A or C file. So this pawn you want to get rid of. So that's why I chose to capture with the king and not the rook. All right, let's move on to another one. All right, another endgame. It's possible that we can just ignore this because notice, the first thing I notice, all right, there's no checks that are worthwhile. If I just check the king, all right, it just brings the king in here, which is actually probably better for black. I can just run this pawn actually. 1, 2, 3 moves, and this king could only come here. So 1, 1, 2, 2, and queen. So give up the rook. The hard part is this pawn here that could potentially go. So I think that's going to be it. I could also go up here, possibly just move the rook and not give it up for nothing. But if I do that, I allow this rook to come behind. So it could also be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 1, 2. No, sorry. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Capture the rook. Captures with check. King here. Or maybe this check is good because then by the time this runs, check here, that wouldn't be good. All right, so it's not the check. Sorry, this one's taking me a minute just because I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. Here, here. And what if this advances? That's no good. What if just this, and then it can't be touched? Oh, I'm liking that. I'm liking this better, but then this also allows this and this. So that's not good. Rooks belong behind passed pawns. All right, so we're going to start with that. Oh, and it runs. All right, so I believe what we're going to do is first sack the rook. Well, not a sack, but exchange the rook, captures, or actually it might even be captures, advance because we can't stop in time. But we got to remember this right here comes with check. So 1, 2, 3, 4, check. Here, check. So 1, 2, 1 takes queen. This is tough. All right, takes. Takes, advance, queen, queen. Oh, but I'll still have my rook. That's it. I'll still have my rook. Yeah. All right, that's the answer. Oh, no. All right, let's see. Oh, that's it. So queen with... oh, so it didn't even want to allow them to get a queen. So I believe the way I saw it, you would have had a rook and... Oh, wow. Yeah, I messed that one up. Okay. All right, one more and we're going to call it quits. Don't want to mess up too many. All right, so notice this right here. I have this check here and mate. Okay, so I think this is a mate in 2. So notice right here, the first thing I see is this check. All right, the king can't go down. It can't go here because of the knight. All right, the only square the king has is right there. And then my queen comes over here, and this is mate. Why is it mate? Because this queen cannot intercept. All right, and the other thing is you don't want to go this direction. Why? Because of this, and then you try to come over again, and then the king slips out, and you lose your mate threat. So it's 1, 2, 3 for mate. All right. Nice. All right, maybe one more. That one was a little quick. Let's end on something a bit better. This is just check and grab. This is really simple. So you're doing a double attack. It's like kind of like a fork. So check, king has to move. Check, probably grab this pawn, I believe. Also, no. See, so this was a bait. This is mate in 1. All right. So this rook protects this pawn, and this pawn blocks the escape square. So mate in 1. So that's what happens when you mess up going for material. All right, let's go one more because that one was a little quick too. All right, check down to grab the queen. See, this is another trick. All right, so right away I was thinking, oh, we win the queen, right? We're kind of getting a material back. This is another mate. Notice these pawns. Pawns are deadly. This pawn that's very advanced here helps deliver the mate. So there we go. That's where you don't want to be too greedy in your games. You know, take your time, look around for stuff. So this one's a little trick. This is a free knight because you recapture, and then I get this rook. So and then it's rook versus knight, as far as I know. You don't want to capture here because captures, and now you're just one rook against a rook and knight. Is there any reason to deliver a check first? I don't think so. Also check, there's really no reason. So we're just gonna grab this knight, and then we're gonna grab this rook, and we're up material in the end game. So it's 5 pawns to 5 pawns, but it's rook versus knight. So this knight is kind of gonna get itself trapped off. Notice this square is taken away, this square is taken away, this square is taken away. This square is not taken away yet. This square is taken away, and this square is just no good because if we were to come here and then here, all right, check this out. Pretend this knight's here. Can we move it? Pretend this knight's here. It's only got these 2 squares. All right, so if my rook came over and down, it would be trapped. It would have to go here to mess up my pawn structure. So realistically, black's next move would be here, and then I might do check and sit right here, wait for this for the knight to move and that pawn to fall, and start trying to clean up. All right, one more and we'll call it a day. All right, so we're trying to promote the pawn, and this is the I believe the Lucina position. I always mix up the Lucina and the Philidor. All right, so basically we're building a bridge. You're gonna try to give up the rook. You're gonna try to anyway. You can actually do it first with a check. Check here, grab up, or you can just put the rook right here and call it a day. If you get this check, now notice your king can tuck right behind the rook and have a nice day. All right, so we're just going to go with that. Grab, queen, and this comes with check. All right, after the king moves anywhere, let's just say the king comes here. What we have to do is deliver probably another. I would keep checking and get your queen right here. So let me just move it to analysis just so we can see here. Oh, let me just move this over. All right, so yeah, we're just going to go through the moves real quick. Here, here, check, here, check, here, check. All right. Oh, I just made it a draw because now we run out of checks. Here, here, Oh yeah, I made it a draw because check this out. I have to walk over here. And now I have no way of making useful checks. Oops, here, check, here, check, here. Oh man, yeah, it's dead draw. I made a draw. Anyway, that was fun. Hope you guys got a little bit out of those tactics. I wanted to do 800 to 1200 ELO. Let me just see what our puzzles were rated. Puzzle rating, that last one was 1029. It's not letting me look at all of them individually. Maybe I could hover over and see. Anyway, yeah, like I said, hope you guys got something out of it. We did, a dozen or so puzzles. They were fun. Next time we'll step it up a little bit. We'll go like 1200 to 1600 and see if we can learn something from it. So, all right, guys, I'll see you next time.